Hey guys, welcome to another episode of It's All About the Music. I got some Q-tips in my ears. That's feeling kind of weird. Maybe that'll get me 1,000,000 views. What do you guys think? Okay, so I got shaving cream on my nose. I got a weird, I'm gonna take the hat off. I got Q-tips in my ears, if you can see them. I got a Chihuahua over there. Today's episode, which I'm very excited about, is we're going to be looking at the best subgenres of rock and roll. Can you guys deal with my southern accent? I didn't realize it was this strong. How do I get rid of it? So, this is another episode of All About the Music, which I'm calling ATM at the moment. All About the Music at the moment. There you go. I didn't even realize that was a thing. But that came to me in the ride home at ATM. At the moment, all about the music, whatever. So, you got to do the shaving cream on the nose, guys. You got to do that while you're watching my video, too. You got to shave your nose hairs. So, rock and roll is a massive, rich, and diverse culture. The lines between the subgenres of rock and roll are blurred and vague at best. One person could call a band a pop band, another could call them a metal band. It's just all in the ears, it's all in the promotion, it's all in the label. It's just music can be whatever that you want it to be, right? I'm going to back up. You guys need to see how bald I am. Hey buddy, are you going to be in this video? No? You got some fleas to deal with? Okay. We got flea medicine on the way for the Chihuahua, my co-host down there in the floor somewhere. So, this is not a definitive list. There are certainly some subgenres that I've missed, especially with the you know, some people think that, you know, there's so many subgenres and there's so many different names for the subgenres. But I tried my best to definitively or sort of get the broad subgenre that some of these people are in that I enjoy listening to. So this is not ranked. These are not in order of any kind. This is simply a list of the I can't read my script. This is simply a list of the subgenres that appear in my top 230 artists. I'm on a journey to hear every song ever recorded. I figured I'd start with the stuff that I like, and that's what I'm doing. And without further ado, here are the best subgenres of rock and roll. Again, in no particular order. Are you guys ready to rumble? Buddy! All right, let's just jump right into it with coming in. You know, it's not in order, but I'm gonna do it in reverse anyway, even though it's not in any kind of order. So let's start with blues rock. Now, I am not an aficionado for blues, but I do like a lot of rock and roll, particularly the early rock and roll that have a heavy blues influence. And some of those blues rock bands are just fantastic, like early Fleetwood Mac and things like that. Next up, Christian rock. Not something that I listen to frequently, but there are some exceptions to the cringeworthy Christian music scene. There are some good Christian music bands out there, and even some solo artists as well. Progressive rock. This is one I've sort of got a little bit more into recently. This tickles. So progressive rock, not too bad. I keep hearing good things about Yes. I need to check them out for sure. You guys like Yes or Rush? Next up, nu metal. That's one that gets a lot of flack too, but what doesn't get flack these days? You know, I grew up, I fell in love with modern rock in the mid to late 90s, and just, you know, System of a Down, Slipknot, Drowning Pool, all those guys, I just instantly was hooked. Now, some of them were better than others. Like, I would say, System is the best, and, Drowning Pool, they weren't so good. But, I loved some new metal. And, even the new metal is not bad. Grunge, absolutely grew up on Nirvana, grew up on Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam. One that's a notable exception for me, I just haven't ever given them a listen, is Alice in Chains. They get so much praise in the grunge community, and I've never heard anything by Alice in Chains except the couple songs that the radio plays into the ground, and I don't like those. I really don't. I don't like the singles by Alice in Chains. So let me know in the comments what you think about AIC. Roots rock. Again, that sort of goes back to that early, sort of it was a revival basically of that roots sound of the earliest rock and roll, and that stuff is awesome. Comedy rock. There's some good. There's some bands that are jokey, and there's some musicians that are just comedic rock, and yeah, there's some good stuff there. Pop rock. I admit I'm a pop rock kind of guy. Just love it, especially that really sweet spot, like from '96 to 2008. Wow. Now 2008 is where pop and rock started to separate, and I don't like that. I wish there was sort of a pop and rock thing going on today, but things change, and today's pop and today's rock are still good, so we're all good there. We've still got pop, we've still got rock. Funk rock. There's some good funk rock out there. Southern rock is another huge one. Leonard Skinner and Tom Petty to a certain extent. I don't really hear the Southern rock sound in Tom Petty. I think of him more as just rock and roll, but he's considered Southern rock. Industrial metal. I do like Marilyn Manson, some 9 Inch Nails. So there's some other bands that have kind of dabbled in industrial sounds. I'm really impressed with Code Orange. Their new album is pretty wild, very experimental, and they're considered punk rock, but they're just on the industrial metal side of punk. It's very good stuff. What else we got here? Art rock. Some of Blue October's work could be considered art rock. Some of The Who could even be considered art rock, depending on who you're talking to. So art rock is a good one. Heavy metal. And when I say heavy metal, I mean all of it. From, some of the heavy metal bands, like you hear Ozzy Osbourne and he sort of, has a poppy sound. And that's okay. I like Ozzy Osbourne. He's very impressive. His catalog is even more impressive. He's just Black Sabbath, Ozzy. Wow. But yeah, the lightest of the poppiest metal to the nastiest subgenre of heavy metal you can think of. But yeah, heavy metal is one of my favorite subgenres. Glam metal. Glam metal, Murder Dolls come to mind. I'm a big fan of Murder Dolls, and they're kind of glam metal. Post-hardcore, I'd say this sort of describes some of the punk rock bands that I enjoy, could be considered post-hardcore. Then you got rock, which is kind of that just baseline today's rock and roll, right? Some people differentiate rock and roll and rock, but I would say rock and roll is the entire thing, and rock is kind of the same thing as rock and roll, right? We could argue the difference. Maybe we'll do a video on that later, maybe not. But it's interesting to read about and think about. So yeah, plain old rock instead of rock and roll. Then post-grunge. A lot of the 90s bands that I like fall into this category if they don't fall into some of the other more notable subgenres. Are you guys following me? I need you guys to like and subscribe. Stop watching Hey Money Wubby, stop watching Lorenzo, stop watching Austin Nation or Sea of Tranquility or Anthony Fantano. Unsubscribe from all of those guys and subscribe to me. I'm doing it all. None of them have shaving cream on their face. None of them, well, some of them have dogs on their videos. Next up, alternative rock. Probably my favorite subgenre of music. There's just so many great alternative rock bands. I really am in deep love with any band that had success in the 90s, maybe formed in the 80s, had their heyday in the 90s, and some of them are still going today. Those are the bands that I care about. That's my good old days, right? Now, I still love new music, so I'm not stuck in 96, but for me, that was my heyday of rock and roll. So alternative rock takes the cake, okay? Absolutely takes the cake. Next up on my list is hard rock. Really dig some hard rock, heavy metal. I guess Shinedown could be considered hard rock. They could be considered pop rock. But heavy metal, hard rock, things like that. Just love it all. The next one is interesting, rap rock. It's another one that maybe gets bad rap sometimes, but I like rap rock, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I like rap rock, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Go on, go and get a drill bit it. I just made that up. That's a free bonus track for you guys. Free bonus track. Like and subscribe, people. Like and subscribe. We're moving on to the next genre, subgenre of rock music, Celtic punk. Now, my two favorites are Flogging Molly and Dropkick Murphys. They're both very high on my list. They both have a great catalog. But there are other bands in that subgenre that are great. I'm not going to go into a list of them, but there's multiple Celtic punk bands that are great. Irish punk, Celtic punk, whatever you want to call it. Alternative metal, that's sort of one I heard bandied about with System of a Down for a while. But yeah, the alternative, like the 90s heavy metal, pretty good stuff. Okay, then we're getting into pop punk. Another one that maybe gets criticized a little bit much because a lot of people say you can't be punk and pop. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. In fact, being pop punk is more punk than being punk. And not being punk is more punk than being punk. So if you're not punk, then you're punk. Which means you're not punk, which means you're punk. Which means you're punk, which means you're not punk. Which means you're the punkest of all. Are you guys following this? My golf shirt, dirty jeans, and New Balances, I am more punk rock than anyone ever. Do you dig? I am not punk, therefore I am. Like, you guys remember watching, anyway, we'll do a punk rock video later where I just do that for like 3 hours. If you're not punk, you are punk. If you are punk, you're not punk. Very confusing stuff. So pop punk, people get upset about it. And then that brings us to our final genre, which is one of my favorites as well, punk rock. The real punk rock, which isn't punk rock because it is punk rock. I read where, some people said punk rock sort of started as a fashion, my brain! A fashion, it was sort of a fashion thing which you would think that would be the opposite of punk, which makes it punk. Again, the argument is insane. Don't people stop. It's 2020. It's about to be 2021. Stop arguing about what is punk and what is not. Okay? Listen to music, and if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you don't. Okay? I'm getting serious here for a minute. I'm just kidding. I'm not being serious at all. I'm being punk rock. Seriously, guys, if you want to, like, there are days when I blast Britney Spears. There are days when I'm listening to LFO or Backstreet Boys. I'm trying to think of the lightest, fluffiest thing that I listen to. Backstreet Boys. Let's go with that. That's everybody knows who they are. So there are days where I listen to the Backstreet Boys, and then immediately after I'm listening to Cannibal Corpse. And a lot of people don't do that, but I want to let you know. I'm here to let you know. I'm a music nerd on the internet. I know there's more than one of us. But you can listen to whatever you want. You can be closed-minded and only like one genre and just listen to that genre if you want to. I don't think that's a good way to be, because there is literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years of music out there to listen to. So don't close yourself off. There's too much music to listen to. And anybody that says there's not good music anymore, they're wrong. Okay? I'm 35 years old. I'll be 35 this year. And it's tough as you get older. You do get kind of stuck in your ways, and you do want to sit around listening to, Nimrod or Warning from Green Day all the day long. But guess what? Father of All ... is a good album, and the people that hate it are just people that are stuck in the 90s. I'm being a little bit critical. Maybe you just don't like it, and that's fine too. But there's good music. There's good music. There's bad music. But at the same time, there's not. All music is subjective. Just listen to a lot of, if you want to, if you want to listen to music, listen to music and try to discover, different kinds that you like. I'm really working to get out of, rock and roll is my favorite, and it will probably always be my favorite, but I am always expanding my musical vocabulary with hip hop and pop and country, a little bit of dance music, a little bit of EDM. Now, I do need to expand my horizons greatly on like blues and jazz and classical. I would say classical would be the next one that I listen to the most. But blues and jazz, I'm really unfamiliar with. I do like listening to foreign music sometimes. Just like get on Google and type in Chinese country music, or Korean rap stars, or Irish hip-hop artists. I've done those Google searches, and you find some really cool stuff. If you like rock and roll, or you like punk rock or heavy metal, punk and metal in particular, there's a movie about punk rock in Africa. And there might be a movie about heavy metal in Africa as well. And if you don't know, Africa has a more diverse musical culture as far as rock and roll than America and England do. And it's strange over there. The older people and people of all ages embrace the heavy metal and even the dressing up and the satanic imagery and things, because they get it over there. They don't throw a fit about it. They don't complain about it. They realize that it's fun, and it's not worshiping the devil. It's just dressing up and having a good time. And people in Africa, they get it. Whereas people here just get offended by everything. I'm probably offending somebody wasting the shaving cream. Every time I do this, I want to rub it on my head, but I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, So this has been a video about my subgenres of rock and roll that are awesome, and it's also been my rant about how you need to get out there and listen. If you're a music fan, if you enjoy music like I do, get out there and listen to some stuff that you don't listen to that much. When I'm in the car, I have XM radio, and I start at channel 2. There is no channel 1 or 0. And I start on that pop station, and if there's something good on there, I'll listen to it. And then I slowly turn it, and then I get to the rock stations, and I find a lot of good stuff that I like. And then I turn it, get to those metal stations, and then I find stuff that I like, and then I get to that hip hop station, and I try to listen and try to get into the groove of things. And if I'm really crazy, I might go all the way over to that, French Canadian talk radio or whatever, But you gotta listen to a lot. I listen to all this different kinds of rock and roll. I like pop, I like country, I like hip hop, classical. Like I said, I'm trying to expand my horizons with blues and jazz and things like that. A little bit of dance, a little bit of house music. But yeah, alternative and punk are sort of where I'm at as far as like my desert island genre. So, but yeah, I enjoy sitting here talking to you guys about music. If you have any questions for me, I sort of consider myself an expert on alternative and punk. But I'm trying to become a musical expert in general. So you guys please like and subscribe. I got enough shaving cream to do, I don't know. I'm going to need to shave my head eventually. But yeah, please like and subscribe. And this has been another episode of All About the Music. Just kidding. That's not funny. What should I eat for dinner, guys? Eggs. I was thinking eggs for dinner. Eggs. Hey, guys, listen to this real quick before you go. Listen to this and see if I say this word funny. Mushroom. 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 All right, you guys, have a good night.